15 degrees, you can see your breath. Out here in the lake effect, breaking tables like it's poetry. Where else would you rather be? Pinto, Ron, Elvis, and the Lay Poncho. The members that you need to know. 'Cause once you out here now, your family. Where else would you rather be? Where else would you rather be?
Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker and StreamYard. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud.
It's a vibe so ridiculous. Since 12 plus 83 was 6. The shout rocking like a symphony. Where else would you rather be?
All right, let's get straight to it. Really excited for tonight's episode, as always. It's funny because, you know, unless you're just a crazy Bills fan who was unrealistic, nobody ever thought that the Bills would be going 17-0. We talked about it throughout the offseason, ups and downs. It's a week-to-week league, as we all know. So we just got served up a little bit of humble pie last week on Sunday Night Football. We're going to get through it. We'll discuss it tonight, and then we'll start to turn our attention to Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock, down in H-Town in Houston. Joining me tonight, as always, my co-host, Riding Shotgun, Adam Dumptruck Rupsick. Check him out on Instagram and Twitter at Adam Rupsick, RUPCZYK. Holla at the crew, DT. We weren't going 17-0. I mean, it's okay. It's all good. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Well, hey, we said though, we go 4-0. You ain't gonna be able to tell us shit.
Not nothing.
But I'm glad we're going Friday night this week. Nickel City Crew, what's up? What's up, Rob? Another week, we're back. Click clack. Glad we're going Friday night because it took a few days to kind of get over that one. It took a few days to, we'll get into it tonight. A lot of darkness, surrounding that game. Ravens in their all black uniforms and a lot of darkness after that game. It just kind of compartmentalizing really what happened and what we have in store for the rest of the year. So I'm glad we're going Friday because I can say I've kind of moved past and now the transition, I'm starting to get hyped up now. Big AFC matchup coming up with the Houston Texans Sunday. So let's lock in, let's get it done, and let's get it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get it going. It's interesting because of the fact that, when you look at games like that, it's funny because we don't really get many games like that in respects to the Bills. I think that we just broke a streak of like 40-something games without being beat by 6 points or more, which is just an incredible feat. It obviously speaks to Josh Allen. It speaks to the offense itself and even the defense as well and the way that they've been able to get after it. So the Bills don't get blown out, and we know that, Bills Mafia, Nickel City Crew. We don't get blown out. We don't get the doors blown off of us. I was at the last game that the Bills got blown out, was that Indianapolis game, and I remember being just so mad driving up to the game, driving home from the game and driving all that way up to Buff to watch that horrible performance. And Jonathan Taylor, I think, scored like 3 or 4 touchdowns, and it really wasn't fun at all. But it's just been few and far between. 3 years since that last blowout, and it was a situation where, I thought that a lot of people I heard saying that we had it coming and different things like that. I don't agree with that, but I just think that when you look at that opponent, DT, that opponent is just built to do some of the things that we don't do well. You think about the way that they run the ball. I talked about in the offseason when I saw Derrick Henry sign with the Ravens, I was like, I put it right on Twitter. I'm like, is there a better fit of player with team than the run heavy Baltimore Ravens welcoming in one of the the greatest runners of our generation, and it was it just seemed to me like it was going to be a match made in heaven. And you saw some of that on Sunday night. Bills drop it 35-10. Again, they don't get their doors blown off very often at all, but it was literally, the offense, I think it was a 3-and-out for their first possession, and then literally the first play from scrimmage for Baltimore is a touchdown up the sideline where they've got that trap game, and it was a bad night really from the start, and it just started to roll downhill after that.
You said it a nice point there. The Ravens kind of a brute force, always have been that way since the days of Ray Lewis, and Derrick Henry going in there just to be a bruiser, on this team that's known to be bruising, right? And
Right.
it's kind of way the NFL's gotten away from. It's gotten a little more finesse league and a little more, over the top, and those bruiser teams aren't around as much. And man, it didn't seem like the Bills remembered that there was bruiser teams in the NFL, because I was saying it this week. It was like you're with your boys, you're out, you're going to the bar, you're having a good time. You think nothing can go wrong. You go outside to get a smoke, and you just get jumped. And you just get circled up and stomped out. And that's what happened Sunday night. They didn't have an answer for everything. How we sounding? Sorry, Nickel City crew. We sounding better now?
You sound
perfect.
Better? You sound perfect.
We're back.
Angelic.
So yeah, we got we got stomped out straight up. No ifs and buts about it. Embarrassing on all fronts. All phases of football were beat up. And it just seemed like we never, ever, we're ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, we are ready to go. We got to talk about it a little bit. I know that you don't want to, DT, and everybody, I saw on Twitter, everybody's like, burn the tape. And I'm like, no, don't burn the tape. Watch the tape and learn from it. Like, don't burn it. A lot of times, you use that as a coping mechanism. Like, oh, it didn't really happen. Or we try to come up with different reasons why things didn't happen and they didn't go out the way that they did. But it happened. It was out there for everybody to see on primetime TV. So we'll talk about it, but we definitely will spend the majority of the episode on Houston. But, DT, from the very start of the game, like I said, it's funny because you had made a comment, last week, and I challenged you on it, but I only challenged you on it just a little bit because we're 3-0 and we're riding high. And, we had talked about how, like the backups in there just playing so well. And you had said, like how the backups, like, McDermott's making it seem like it doesn't even matter. And I'm like, yeah, but that shit can't catch up with you eventually. And boy, did it this week, because, it's a situation where your starters are starters for a reason, DT. I mean, there's really no other way to really sugarcoat it. Like, I understand that there was fun with Cam Lewis, and he's still playing okay in the slot for Teron Johnson. But like, the UB corners, and you're talking about DBU and stuff like that. And I understand that that's all fun and it's cool. Jamarcus Ingram is making plays and different things like that. But the middle of the field, the spine of that defense going right up the middle was really getting picked on by Baltimore. And they didn't do anything exotic or anything like that in respect to their pass game or their run game. But just the fact that those backups in there, Balen Spector looked like a backup. You know what I mean? Like he looked like one on Sunday night. The same thing with what's his name? What's the other linebacker? Dorian Williams. And then I saw 32. I'm like, wait a minute, is Juice alive? And I didn't realize that they gave out Juice's number, and Nick Morrow's running around chasing tackles. And I'm just like, man, these guys are having a tough time tonight. They had to switch out of their nickel D because of the way that Baltimore was running the ball. So it was a situation where I think that it's really important to get healthy, because of the fact that, yes, it's fun and there's cool stories, and McDermott is making, chicken salad out of chicken shit, but man, you really do need your starters to be out there ready to go, and we'll talk about that obviously, because that's a big storyline for coming up for Houston. But, for last week specifically, you kind of saw some of the cracks in the defense when those main guys aren't out there, because it was noticeable.
Play one, Rob, the 87-yard touchdown. Yeah. I mean, you're screwed after that. And I mean, yeah. Collinsworth kept saying it and whatever. It's the fact you can't, settle in as a defense when you get cut like that, right? Because then now everybody's so nervous that they don't want to get beat on that play, so they're up, and then they're going to get beat back, and that everyone just out of position the next 4 quarters because of that. That is literally an ideal start to a game, if you're the Baltimore Ravens, to have a run like that, set the tone, because it makes this defense full of young players, full of backups, now completely off-kiltered, completely off-screwed. All their confidence that they've had the weeks prior that they were building is out the window now, because now they got slapped in the face and then knew they can get beat like that. So that play one, I think, set the tone. And, I mean, to be honest, Rob, it's a trend of the last 7 years under the McDermott era.
Right.
These first play bullshit things happen a lot. It goes all the way back. A couple examples I can think of. One that didn't cost us a game was last year when, the Patriots ran back the opening kickoff. And then, the first play pick in the Patriots, Josh Allen throws the first play pick. Yep. James Cook fumbles on the first play. And, first play bullshit. It seems to be it happens. Yeah. And, we've recovered on some of the games and we haven't. Sunday night, we had no chance of recovering. That defense was out of sorts, and they did whatever they wanted the rest of the game because of that, because everyone was like, wait, was I too far up? Was I too far back? And nobody was in position the rest of the night because of it. So that set the tone, and, we talk about inexperience and the backups in. Not saying if they stopped them, if they didn't let up an 87-yard touchdown on play one, they would have won the game. I'm not saying that by any means, but that definitely rattled these dudes a lot less than a starter or a veteran would. Okay, it happens. Let's lock back in and get it going. It's a lot harder to get it back going when you are the third string guy out there and you just get busted up the side by Derrick Henry.
Yeah, no, and he busted us up for sure. I mean, 199 yards on the ground and everything like that.
200. At least that's like the one bright spot. They stopped. They kept him in the game late to try to get him that 200, and they stopped him twice behind the line, so he didn't get it. But it's that set the tone and put these young guys on notice, and they were uncomfortable the rest of the game. And credit to the Ravens offense and Lamar for staying poised and picking us apart because of that.
And you're absolutely right about that. And we got out coached. You know what I mean? And it was clear to see from the beginning of the game, and that when we had a little bit of momentum and we started to try to make some type of run, start the third quarter, we go ahead and score. You know what I mean, on that broken play, whatever the case may be, to Khalil Shakir, and then DT. It was like a brain fart of all epic brain farts. Like, Joe Brady, what are you thinking? Like, I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know why he thought it was a good idea. I know that he took, responsibility for it and said he can't call that play and different things like that in that moment. And obviously it's results based in that respect. If it works, then obviously everybody's like, oh man, that was really interesting. And that looked like a Dable trick play and stuff like that. My thing is that, I want the offensive coordinator to have the pulse of what's going on in the game situation. You had just stopped them twice. You had an opportunity to come down there and make it 21-17 if you score another touchdown. And obviously it's still a touchdown game, but you can maybe breathe some life into it. All the air was sucked out of the building in respects to the Bills sideline after that dumbass play. Josh Allen gets rocked. They get a free rush on him and get a chance to hit him because he's lined up out wide as a wide receiver. So he doesn't count as a quarterback. There's no in the pocket or anything like that. And boy, it could have been really bad. The way that he got hit by that defensive tackle, we would be way more upset if 17 wasn't the superhuman that he is and got up from that play. It could have been really bad. It could have been really bad.
Well, let's rewind a little into the first half. The sideline shot to Keon Coleman that he dropped, right? That was kind of they were trying to, it was the lawnmower was trying to start there. We got punched in the mouth straight up, and then okay, let's reset. The Ravens have almost blown a lead every week this season, right? So let's reset and let's do our thing. And they started kind of getting in a rhythm. The lawnmower was trying to start it up. And that drop to Keon Coleman, I think, was massive. And I mean, he's a rookie. Things, I get it, whatever. But that goes back to all our things of like, well, everybody eats, and you're going to put guys like that out there. Well, we need that play to be made. That in this game specifically, that play needed to be made to get down, score that touchdown, get up. It's 10-21 going in. Then you got the stop, score, stop. And that drive of the trick play is the 21-17 score, not the 20-10 score. And so that drive is going for the lead, with 11 minutes left in the third quarter. So that's true. That's what I really like him on. Like, there's all these things, rookie, whatever, but that's a play that's got to be made for in a game like that when, okay, we got punched in the mouth. We can't afford any mistakes anymore.
Right.
You make that mistake and then we're reeling. The trick play, like you said, damned if you do, damned if you don't. If that thing goes and it's a touchdown, Joe Brady's the best offensive coordinator ever.
I know how it goes. Yeah.
But where I have issue with it, and I've talked about it a lot this week to my friends, and I'm passionate about it.
Sure.
Every play in your playbook, I think you look at as 3 sequences, right?
Okay.
Best case scenario, most is a touchdown, but not every play, because there's some plays you're just doing purposely for field position or this or that or whatever you have to do.
Grind clock.
Yeah. First, every play, best case scenario is a touchdown.
Okay.
realistic scenario, whatever it is, 10, 15 yards, whatever it is. And then you have a worst case scenario of every play, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And the worst case scenario should be, nothing, right? An incomplete pass or a rush for no gain or, something like that. This worst
sack,
case
maybe.
scenario is putting 1-7 against the firing squad out with no protection. Like, so this is why I had issue with the play itself. Like, not like, yes, it was a dumb play to be called with the momentum, whatever. Joe Brady knows that. Everybody knows that. Nobody has to, like, it's not a fucking mystery to figure out that was a bad play call. Everybody gets that.
Right.
But the fact that 17 was put in harm's way like that for pretty much no reason, that's what I have issue with.
That
Why
fired
do we
you
have
up.
like in the playbook that are going to set up like that if all hell breaks loose, which it did,
Yeah.
that 17 just there with every linebacker and defensive lineman coming full speed at him.
Licking their chops. Yep. Licking their
I think
chops.
that part of it's unacceptable. I don't think 1-7 should ever be in a situation where worst case scenario of the play is him getting rocked like that.
Yeah.
And granted, he did his typical Josh stuff. He didn't just see it blowing up and try to throw it away. He tried to step up there and huck one. But but it shouldn't be worst case scenario ever as that outcome. And that's what I had the most issue with. Not that it was called at a bad time or anything like that. The play itself shouldn't be in the playbook if 1-7 is going to take a hit like that. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, it's crazy to see like how, and you've got to, one of the things that they talked about and I have to agree with is that, just from playing sports and playing football as well, just, anytime the quarterback's sitting out there, like, some shit is going on, like, Josh Allen doesn't play wide receiver. So even if it was a trick play, I thought that it was poorly designed because you're putting everybody on alert. You might as well have a sign up that says we're getting ready to run a trick play, fellas. You know what I mean? Because, the Ravens were not fooled. And then obviously Van Noy breaks through and gets penetration. And all of a sudden everything just blows up on Samuel, who's trying that little flick pass or whatever he was getting ready to do. But a situation where when you see Josh Allen lining up at wide receiver, you know that some shit is about to happen. So I just would like a little bit more subtlety if you are going to run a trick play and just not alert the defense that something is about to happen because they knew it. They had it covered up. They had a cover over the top of the defense of wherever he was going, Mac Hollins or whoever he was getting ready to chuck that thing to. Now, I almost would have liked an arm punt in that scenario as opposed to what happened with the fumble. But I totally agree. You're absolutely right. You don't want to put your $256 million investment out there to get hit like that. And those defenders love it. When they get a chance to get at your quarterback, they fucking love it. Like they will take every chance they get. And that defensive tackle, I don't know who it was, but I know he thought like it was Christmas getting a chance to get a free shot on Josh.
Van Noy.
It wasn't, it was, or whoever, but the defensive tackle was the guy that hit him. And he lit him up, man.
Yeah.
He knocked him to the ground. It could have been bad, man.
Monday night, the Lions had a beautiful trick play where they threw it back to Jared Goff. And and I agree. Like putting your quarterback out at wide receiver is never like who's gonna be like, oh, okay, we better cover it. Like I think of all the way back to that clip of Mark Sanchez that one time when he was out there and the defensive back just gave him a little like a jolt at him and Sanchez just fucking not saying Josh Allen would ever do that. But it's just dumb. It's just
speaks
dumb.
to it.
And I get whatever, trying to be creative, trying to make things happen, but the momentum was going. Like maybe that's the play call you make in the first half when you're down 21-3 and you're trying to get nothing's working. So, hey, let's just try something crazy like this. And if it works, boom, now we're back on the map and rolling. But the momentum was already rolling. So that's where the problem was. But again, damned if you do, damned if you don't have a problem with like him calling a trick play. I have a problem with the play itself. Josh Allen being out there and taking that hit of, the guy hasn't been touched in 2 weeks, and then he gets the complete shit kicked out of him.
I love it. Now, as we transition, over 300 people following and watching us now on all different platforms. We really appreciate it. It's interesting as we transition, DT, because this is a big week, to believe it or not. This is a big week. I know it's early in the season, and sometimes it's cliche to call games big games, but the way that last week went, and then also the way that the AFC is shaping up. And we talked about it last week ad nauseum in respects to how the conference is looking a little bit weaker. And it's looking like there's some chinks in almost every team, including the so quote unquote contenders. DT, this is a big game coming up here on Sunday, 1:00 down there in H-Town in Houston. And we got some bad news today, Bills Mafia, Nickel City Crew, in respects to the injury report. Ed Oliver, Austin Johnson at defensive tackles. Both of them will be out of the game. We've got Khalil Shakir out for this matchup. He had that ankle injury. I know he tried to tough it out last week. He was not the same when he came back in the game, not the same explosiveness or anything like that when he tried to gut it out last week when he came in that Baltimore game and came back. And then Taylor Rapp's got a concussion. He's got hamstring or something like that. He's out of this game. So it's a bad situation for the Bills in respects to having 4 starters or at least a rotational player out of the game. DT, speak to it because, I just talked about how your starters start for a reason. This is not an ideal situation when you're going up against an offense that can put points on the board. No, they're not going to run the ball like Baltimore did, so that gives you a little bit of solace in that respect. But they got plenty of weapons. Nico Collins looks like a freak show. Obviously, Stephon Diggs, we'll talk about him later, and then Tank Dell's supposed to be coming back this week. So this is the wrong time to have injuries. There's going to be tested once again because you've got some guys that are key guys. Hopefully, Bernard can get back. We'll see. But, this is going to be the first start for Cole Bishop. This is going to be a big time game for Day in the middle with the young rookie, Dwayne Carter. Like there's a lot of young guys are getting ready to have to step up into different roles that they're maybe not, accustomed to in it. And this is a big matchup on the road.
I mean, the everybody eats on offense. Khalil Shakir kind of solidified as like being the number one option over the last 3 weeks of a kind of watered down offensive weapon that we've been talking about for, all the offseason. And then kind of what solidifies to be the best offensive weapon is going to be out. In a team on a game, you might have to put up 35 points to win it. So that's obviously concerning. Ed Oliver got hurt at practice, right? He didn't get hurt in the game.
Yes, he did. He got hurt on Thursday. He's the hamstring. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's tough. Austin Johnson was in and out, but the depth of this defensive line, at least Sunday, wasn't showing up. I mean, Casey Toohill, Smoot, those dudes were kind of getting ran around a little bit. Daquan Jones hasn't really shown out all year. So this, glass half full, use this as opportunity to kind of to lock in and get it going. Maybe Dwayne Carter, Little Wayne, can, get his breakout game because he has to type of situation. I think Terrell Bernard's going to be huge if he's back.
That will be
Karen
big.
Johnson will be very big if he's back because that goes really deep. That goes to, that dude was playing against Stephon Diggs in practice for 4 years, right? So he knows a lot more than whoever else is going to be out there trying to make plays, especially in the slot. So those 2 guys back are huge. Ed Oliver, has been not great this year, but he's our best defensive lineman, So
sure.
We just got done talking about it. The starters are the starters for a reason. We got bullied because of it, and now you're going into a team where you might have to score 30 points to beat them, or if your defense is beaten battered, they're going to score, so the offense is going to have that go-to player, and if Khalil Shakir's out, there's going to be a lot of question marks, a lot of people that are going to need to step up. I don't love it. The media is, I think they're still down about Sunday, so the negative aura is around this team right now, which stinks. Because, the first 3 weeks, it was super high and everyone was good. And then this week, it was dark. It was dark for me Monday and Tuesday. I started to kind of come around, but then I'm listening to GR today and it's negative. It's like, oh, well, this guy's out. How are we going to match up, in and out? And so the negative aura is there, but I think we're in a similar situation as we were in the past couple games. Like there's primetime starters that aren't on this team right now. And, we have to get, we're just going to have to next man up. The standard is the standard, as Rasul Douglas says. The standard is the standard. It wasn't the standard Sunday night, but it's got to be next man up because it's really different players, but it's nothing that we haven't been battling all year.
Yeah, I mean, the standard is the standard, and you're absolutely right about that. I guess I'm not trying to purposely be negative or anything like that. You already know me, DT. I'm a realist. I'm a sports realist. I'm a Bills realist. And I think that the injuries are something to definitely monitor because of the fact that they're bountiful right now. They're plentiful. There's enough of them to go around. Every level of the defense seems to be affected by some type of injury. And we just talked about how they catch up with you. What's that?
We're a little glassy. right now.
Yeah, it's a little bit glassy. And I'm not saying that we're a soft team or anything like that. I mean, come on, we talked about in the offseason. The Bills had ridiculous luck when it came to injuries and stuff like that. So, anytime anybody wants, oh, what's wrong with the strength and staff and all this other stuff, like I don't buy any of that shit. Like we've had more than our fair share of luck when it comes to the fact of attrition. I mean, it's football, it's a tough sport, so we understand that. I just think that some of these injuries on these types of weeks, like this is the type of team that you don't need injuries for, because of the fact that I do feel like they can put up points. Now, again, they haven't looked the best or anything like that. They got boat raced just like we got boat raced by Minnesota. So they got boat raced by Minnesota. They haven't put their best foot forward every single week, but I still respect their quarterback. I definitely respect their weapons because of the fact that they've got so many of them to go around. Even we haven't even mentioned Dalton Schultz or Mixon, who I don't know if he's going to be back or not, but I do know those receivers and that tight end can play. And another thing we needed to get to, DT, about it is that what is going on? You said something about everybody eats, but like what's going? That's why I thought that this shit was fugazi, because where's Dalton Kincaid? For real. Like, where is he? I know that everything, everybody gets a plate and everybody gets their fork and everybody's supposed to have a portion. Dalton Kincaid is getting flare routes. He's getting those same routes that they were throwing at Stephon Diggs in the second half of the year. Like, he's getting all these little bubble screens, and then that's it for his whole game. Like, I don't understand how he's not stretching the seams at all. And then Curtis Samuel, I don't even know if he plays on the team. And I'm like, wait a minute, he's our highest paid receiver. I understand that $8 million is not a ton of money, but like, what is going on, man? You got to tell me something about this dude Brady, because again, I told you in the beginning of the year I was going to be watching him, and I'm still looking at him. And I understand that we started out great, and everybody got all the t-shirts sold those first 3 weeks, man. But a lot of it was situational. We had turnovers in that Miami game. We're playing with short fields where the offense is not even asked to stretch out its legs. I mean, you talk to me, DT. 86, number one. I have not seen them all year long, and I'm just wondering what is up, man, because if everybody's eating, Shakir, Kincaid, and Sammy were supposed to have the biggest portion on their plate. I thought that's what everybody wanted to tell me. What's up, man?
Who else is there?
I don't know, man.
Yeah. Going with Curtis Samuel, $8 million a year. Yeah, not a ton of money, but put it into perspective. What salary is Derrick Henry on right now?
A reasonable one.
$8 million, 2 years, 2 years, 16. So $8 million a year. And they're not the same player, not the same position. I'm not saying we should have got Derrick Henry. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Derrick Henry had 2 touchdowns and 200 yards against us last week, and Curtis Samuel had a pitch to Josh Allen that got him wrecked. We paid the same for both those guys. The production for Derrick Henry was 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. The production for Curtis Samuel was a pitch to Josh Allen. So I know there was injury talk in the beginning. He had the turf toe, and he's kind of ramped. He has increased snaps each week, but it doesn't seem like they're targeting him. Doesn't seem like there's plays in the playbook for him. It doesn't seem.
You're talking about Kincaid?
Anything.
You're talking about Kincaid?
No, Curtis Samuel right now.
Samuel's like playing like a third of the snaps. He had like 30% of the snaps the other day. I'm like, what is going on?
So that's what I'm saying. The 8 with Derrick Henry and him, we're paying the same for these guys, and Derrick Henry's a lot more productive than what we're seeing for Curtis Samuel. So maybe the injury, and we're ramping it up, but like we don't have time to ramp it up anymore. Like, this dude's got to get involved. This dude's got to get popping here. Like, because with Khalil Shakir out, especially this week, we're gonna need to see something. Dalton Kincaid on that hand seems like it's a slow start, and I don't know if I like these little flare bubble routes or whatever, but it does, like, it seems like they're trying to kind of get a rhythm a little bit. It just hasn't been stalled. It hasn't been, but it seems they're trying to look there a little more, kind of game plan to him a little more. For game one, he was covered heavily. Like, they were keying on him.
I understand. Arizona paid attention to him.
They were all over 6. Week 2 kind of was mediocre, didn't need him much.
Right.
Week 3, I think, was his best game. Obviously, had the touchdown. Was all over the field, but he was getting lit up, Rob, Sunday. I mean, a few plays downfield there, he was getting popped, and everybody on the team was getting popped. Everybody walked out of there, sore after Sunday night.
That's the way Baltimore plays.
I agree. It's a mystery. I think that Curtis Samuel, maybe the injury might have something to do with it and ramp up, but we don't have to, with Khalil Shakir out, we don't have time. We don't have time. We gotta really buckle in, and if everybody eats, then these dudes got to start eating, because like we got the family deal on the table, and there's a lot of nuggets left. So get in there, get your hot mustard, and eat that shit up, because we don't have time anymore. So I agree. It's kind of it's not broken out yet, but another week of no production from Curtis Samuel and mediocre production from Dalton Kincaid, and we lose Sunday. It's going to be hot next week. It's going to be hot of where are these dudes? It's going to be a lot more matter of fact. There's rumblings right now, but it's going to take 1 week for it to be matter of fact.
Yeah, and I think that's I think that's so true because of the fact that you hear with the Davante Adams rumors right now and stuff like that, and Buffalo's calling and interested and stuff, and people are like, well, half the fans want to say, well, let's just stick it out and let's just see what everybody eats, and then I want to like scream at the radio, Josh Allen is in his MFing prime. Like, why are we screwing around with Josh Allen when he's in his prime to begin with? That was what I screamed all off season, and then they didn't replace 14. And then when they didn't do it, and they said that everybody eats is going to be their campaign strategy for this season, I was like, okay, and I'm going to be watching. Well, now you see half the other fan bases are like, go ahead and get Davante Adams because we need help. Like, we need another guy that can affect the game. And I think that it's ringing true. Now, again, I never really understood Joe Brady as an NFL play caller because I've only had limited time to watch him when he was in Carolina. And then they've got that weird owner, Tepper, who fires everybody. And then they fired his coach, and the coach fired him because he was passing too much, whatever. I thought that Joe Brady was the LSU guy, was the guy with Burrow and Jamar Chase and Jefferson chucking the ball all over the field and different things like that. I understand that there's more than one way to skin a cat. He is run heavy. He likes to run the ball, and I see a lot of bubble screens. I am seeing a lot of the same stuff that I saw at the second half of last year, and I could have swore the second half of last year was triage. I could have swore the second half of last year was him just getting us on the operating table and trying to literally save the season. You're not trying to save the season right now. It's the beginning of the season. Let's go win some fucking games. And I'm just a little bit nervous, man, because of the fact that I was never sold on everybody eats. And week 2 and week 3 didn't do anything to make me feel better about everybody eats. It was because of the fact that the game scripts were so messed up that, like, I never even got a chance to see this offense stretch its legs, like I said. So last week, you had an opponent getting ready to hit you in the mouth, physical, ready to go on their side of the ball on offense, and I needed some response from the offense, and I didn't get it from my coordinator. I saw, again, a lot of bubble screens out to Kincaid and just nothing stretching the field. I thought that he was supposed to be a matchup nightmare. It's not a matchup nightmare for a quick flare out route. And then you're trying to see how many guys he can elude and get 5, 6, 7 yards. Like, that's not what I thought I was getting with Dalton Kincaid. And like I said, I didn't even know Curtis Samuel's on the team. Obviously everybody talks about MBS dropping the ball. At least give him a chance to drop the ball. He doesn't even play. I'm like, who's this guy? Deontay Hardy? Like, you're not even giving him a chance for us to get mad at him as Bills Mafia. Like, you're not even giving him an opportunity because he's not out there. So, I don't know, man. It's weird. And before we transition, I just wanted to get your thoughts on the Davante Adams, talk, because I mean, are you sold? Are you ready to go? Everybody eats and buy your shirt and vote at the polls. Like, are you cool? You're cool with all this? Well,
it's got to be. It's got to be, right? I mean, what other option is there, right? It's got to be everybody eats. So let's start getting everybody to eat. Like you said, we're got guys that aren't eating. So let's get everybody to eat, and then let's decide if everybody eats is good or not. That's okay. Where I'm at, because what's the other option, right? Go to
Davante, you give up the second round or a third rounder,
whatever. But like, what's the other option right now? So the option is everybody eats. So let's get everybody at least eating before we can make that call.
Okay, I guess as we transition tonight's episode,
I know what you mean, man.
Oh man, I mean, it's tough sometimes. Tonight's episode, as all of our episodes, are presented by 26 Shirts here on Buffalo Fanbase, the official Bills Mafia podcast network that DT and I simulcast on. Head on over to 26shirts.com for all of your latest Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Sabres, Buffalo City themed t-shirts. Again, portions of the proceeds go to a great cause. You can definitely screw off some money way worse than going and helping out a family that's in need. Again, they've got great content creators. Check out 26shirts.com. Again, salute to the Godfather, Del Reed, who's running that site over there. Head on over, support a good cause. They're cheap t-shirts. They've got great concepts. And again, most importantly, they are going to support a great cause. DT, as we transition to Houston, I've been waiting for this one. This one has been circled for a little while for me because of the fact that you already know, everybody knows Nickel City Crew, that I was a Stephon Diggs, just a supporter. I became a Stephon Diggs apologist. And then I became a Stephon Diggs, like, let's put on some gloves because I'm getting ready to fight y'all after that OTA fiasco at the beginning of last year. It was crazy to me how Bills Mafia split on him so fast. And a lot defected. Not all. I'm not going to accuse the entire Mafia, but a lot of people after that OTA fiasco with McDermott lying to us and different things like that, they switched and they said, get him the hell out of here, even though he was so completely productive. Help Josh Allen become the quarterback that he is. And we've had many episodes talking about all of that. He's got his new Diggs, pun intended, DT down there in Houston. And, I literally think that he's going to be trying to tear faces off on the defense on that weekend. And if I'm the defensive back coach, I'm telling them, listen, that first catch he gets, he's going to be talking shit to you. He's going to get up. He's going to be trying to energize the crowd, all of that type of stuff. You're going to hear the whole, thank you, Buffalo chants and stuff like that. And when he gets involved, be ready for that. And then in true quarterback fashion, be ready to get that out of your mind. Next play, I think, is going to be a big deal on Sunday for these young quarterbacks, Benford, Bernard, Benford and Rasul Douglas, along with even if Elam gets on the field as well. Those guys have Cam Lewis in the slot, have a short memory, understand that this guy is going to be talking shit. He's going to be motivating to his team. He's going to be trying to motivate the crowd. Be ready for all of it, basically. Be prepared because it's funny. He plays with such an intensity that he forces you to either come up to that intensity level and meet him, or you're going to get ran over. And he did that with his own teammates, so he's going to be doing that to the opponent. And that's just keeping it real, man. That's the kind of player he is.
It's going to be a tall test. I mean, it's a dude that is a bulldog and gets pumped up, for like what and Michael Jordan used to say that he used to just make shit up to get pissed off about. You used to like make something up to get pissed, like, oh, he said this and he didn't, but he just would make it up to get pissed off. And he's intense anyway. And now he actually has I know what you mean. Whatever.
I know what you mean.
There's a reason to actually get upset about this because he heard those things, when people were talking after the OTAs and after this, and he's a diva, and he heard those things, and he's like, all right.
He liked one of my tweets back then when I was defending him, and I'm like, y'all need to chill out, man.
and the one there, like, what Josh Allen doesn't need a top receiver to be successful. He says, you sure?
You sure?
And, whatever. I don't think the feud is as big as the feud that the media wants it to make, but for someone that can make stuff up to get pissed off, doesn't have to make stuff up Sunday.
Not this week.
It's gonna be a tall task. But like you said, that's got to be the mentality going in from this Bills defense of this dude is just another slot guy. This dude is just another dude that's at the end of his career that isn't gonna cook us. And that's what the motto has to be in the mantra. And that's why I said Taron Johnson, if he plays, that's gonna be huge because it's he probably did. Stephon Diggs wasn't just doing that on game day. He probably sucked to go up against in practice every day. He probably sucked, but to have to deal with that. Like, come on, man! Like it's Wednesday afternoon. Like, why you got to be like this? And he just every play, And,
yes.
And so if anybody's ready for it, it's Taron Johnson, and so that's why I think it's crucial that he's got to get back in and give us some reps on Sunday. It's going to be a ramp up. Obviously, he's been out since week 1. But
he's not doing any contact stuff, so I don't know.
The familiarity to say, like, okay, yeah, we know you're a dog, Diggs, but like this is all barking right now. We know if we can lock you up and make it happen. So that's got to be the mentality of this defense. And yeah, you're right. I think the Bills kind of have to hope that the Texans buy into this a little too much, right? That'd be like, 1-4, or now he's number 1, right? So we're getting you back, like they say you're a diva. Nah, like we're gonna show him you're a dog. We're gonna show him you're a dog. And then so that's my hope that they buy into it a little too much. They try to make that the two. They try to dig in a little.
That's
too
the
much
rallying
to that
cry.
story.
Yeah, they're going to try to make that their rallying cry this week.
And instead of saying like this is an AFC opponent that we need to beat, it doesn't matter that Diggs used to play there or whatever. So that's my hope that they really buy into it and dig into it too much, and it gets them off the main game plan, and we can attack accordingly. But yeah, we can't overlook this, but we can't we can't make it bigger than. Make it bigger than it is because they'll win that battle and feed into it. They got the crowd. They'll have everything behind them when it comes to that. So familiarity, it's going to be tough. He's going to want to torch us.
That's what I mean.
And I hope the Texans buy into that kind of. They're a young team. You know,
Sure.
so I hope they kind of immaturely buy into that a little bit. CJ Stroud, you know, the young
Maybe
quarterback
forcing
is
him
kind of
maybe forcing him the ball a little bit.
immaturely buys into it and tries to force some
Okay.
shit that's not there, and we make
Okay.
him pay for it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I didn't think about that because they are a young team. They're learning how to win. This is the first. Somebody mentioned today that this is their first time playing through a first place schedule since the Bill O'Brien days. Like, this is a whole different regime, a whole different staff, and a bunch of players. So I agree with you. I like that point a lot because I didn't even think about it from that angle. You're absolutely right. They are young. Maybe they can get CJ to kind of focus in a little bit more on Stephon Diggs. It's like that around the NFL, but almost all the time when they're facing their former team, the coaches want to make a point to let that guy get off, especially if it was something that was contentious or something like that. They definitely want that guy, who gets the game ball every week. It's the guys that's playing their former teams and stuff like that, unless there's another guy that blew up. So I definitely agree with you on that there might be a little bit sliver of an opening there for them to maybe get CJ Stroud and the offense off this game. But it's hard to get them off the game when you've got a receiver like Diggs, and then when you got somebody like Collins, who is clearly a top 5 receiver. He looks like a monster every single week. I see him doing shit, and I'm just like, this is the guy that I would love to have. He looks like a slimmer DK Metcalf with all of the ball skills that you'd ever want. Like all of the ball skills he'd ever want.
He's leading the league by like 200 yards.
He's ridiculous, man. He is
not
ridiculous.
Even close. Like the second place receiver in yards is like 200 yards behind him.
He's ridiculous. Yeah, so Bills have to stay on their P's and Q's this week. It's going to be imperative to do that. And I like that point, though. Maybe they can get CJ Stroud to focus a little bit too much on number 1 down there in H-Town. Yeah. Maybe. I like that.
And we know CJ Stroud likes to talk.
Oh, God.
So he likes the storyline of, oh, yeah, we got you with Diggs. We got you with Diggs. And likes to talk about it on his little podcast or whatever pissed me off all off season. But to buy into the kind of the new culture and the headline more than this is an AFC battle.
Yeah, against a worthy opponent. And we are worthy. Despite the injuries, I think that we are going to put up a good game. Again, my main focus and my main concern is the injuries. How are they going to catch up with us? Last week, I thought that they actually caught up with us a little bit, especially on the defensive side of the football. Now you got some more, so we're going to see how they deal with it, to be honest, man. But 1:00 Sunday, Bills in Houston. Now, as we begin to wrap up tonight, the Nickel City Crew Tailgate Report presented by Queen City Vintage. Head on over to Queen City Vintage. That is Queen_City_Vintage_716. 716, excuse me. Our boy Nick running a great site over there. Head on over to Queen City Vintage on Instagram for all of your latest and old nostalgic Buffalo Bills and some Buffalo Sabre stuff in there as well. Sweatshirts, t-shirts, hats, memorabilia. They've got everything that you can think of. They're right there on Elmwood Avenue across from 40 Thieves. Check them out. They've got a great site. They've got a great storefront. And I know that Nick will hook you up. We've got some giveaways coming up that DT is going to be helping us out with. And we're
going to try to get
our creative director, Olivia Nagel.
Yep. So we got a plan. We're going to be rolling out. So next week will be our first Queen City Vintage Tailgate Report giveaway. We'll be giving away. We'll present the giveaway on next week's show, and then the first giveaway will be the week after. So we'll let everybody enter after next week's show, and then the week after that will be the first. Okay, you get this. We'll do that the rest every week, the rest of the year. So look forward to that, Nickel City Crew. It's going to be a nice little care package from Queen City Vintage. Nick's going to put together something a little nice, a hat and a sweatshirt and some glassware, or it'll be a nice little win. So we're going to grow like that, and keep an eye out next week. We'll announce that and get everybody in on that to support it.
Absolutely. I'm down with it. I'm really happy that they climbed on board to help us be with a sponsor and give a little bit of a little partnership. And we're excited about it here at Nickel City Crew. Now, the Tailgate Report, DT, mine was a little bit, it was funny because, we stay quick on our feet, right? I always say it. We stay quick on our feet. We adjust. We audible around here at the Crippen House. So because of the hurricane, and again, our prayers and thoughts are with all the people that have been affected by the hurricane. I know in North Carolina, where I am, DT, it's been crazy. Some miles up the road, in Asheville and in the mountains and stuff like that. So our thoughts and prayers are with those people as well. And as they begin to try to rebuild, because of the hurricane, they canceled school, DT. It was I don't know, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you know anything, if you remember back when you were a kid, kids, what happens when you find out that it's a snow day early? If you find out early enough, then you really are going buck wild. And the Crippen Kings did not disappoint. They were amped up when they found out there was no school. So they were all playing, and they were supposed to be going back to their mother's houses, and then just everybody was just like, okay, well, fuck it, just come on over. I'm cooking anyway. Everybody might as well just come over. Rebecca, my ex-wife, her niece had no power, so she was with her too. So it was like a party. I had the first party here at the new house, and I grilled out DT, did some pork tenderloin, did some crab legs. I did crab legs because it was Baltimore, Maryland, so I had some crab legs on the grill, steaming up and getting ready. And Nate really loves crab legs, and then everybody was just munching on those as well with the butter and all, putting hot sauce in the butter and all that other good stuff. So we hooked it up. Now I hooked it up for sure. It just was impromptu. I wasn't expecting all these damn babies, and all of a sudden they canceled school, and like they were wide open. Nobody was trying to go anywhere. Everybody was chilling, and they were playing hard. So I was like, well, your mothers might as well come over because you guys are clearly not going anywhere. So it was a good day though. We enjoyed the game. Obviously until until the actual game started.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's my tailgate report. We were chilling
good.
here.
Well, at least that seemed fun up until the game for sure. That's quite the opposite. Quite the opposite of my tailgate report, Rob. I mean, we Saturday night, it's the roommate Zach, 330 Linden, Broncos fan. We'll give him a shout out. It was his birthday. It was actually his birthday on game day on Sunday.
Oh wow! Okay.
But we went out Saturday for his birthday. Went to a nice little restaurant we like. Had all our friends come with us. It's called Giacobbe's down on Allentown. Nice Italian joint. I definitely recommend it to anybody. It's a good spot. That's a free ad. So maybe I can get
there you go.
Free garlic bread next time I go in there. But went out there Saturday night, and we got after it a little bit. The squad was in it, and it was one of those things where you really weren't planning on it. It just, you were going to a nice dinner, so before we leave, you have a couple drinks, and then you get to dinner and have a couple drinks, and then you want to go out a little, and then it's like you don't really know. It gets after you a little bit. And,
you got out of hand.
Had some obligations the next day. Was with my nephew early, 2 years old.
Yeah.
And that dude doesn't realize Uncle Adams might be a little hungover and take it slow. We were full bore at 9 a.m. the next day. And so I got home 1 o'clock, and I was like, okay, I'm feeling kind of good. I'm not as bad as I thought I was. And then, halftime of the 1 o'clock games, and I was like, okay, I'm shot. I'll take a little nap. I'll reset and be ready for, Sunday night ball.
Oh, man.
Did that, tried to get right. But it was just a quiet, kind of dark day, was tired and was almost like, all right, like we really have to wait till 8:30 for this game. Like almost annoyed. Right. Usually game day, I'm pumped up for kickoff. And now it's like, I'm annoyed. I got to wait till 8:30. So just the whole mind was off. The whole vibe was off, and that that was my fault by all means. But and I just was like, oh man, if we get killed tonight, it's gonna really suck. And I was just moping. I was, I wasn't in a positive regular DT attitude.
Your normal DT vibe and energy.
So the tailgate report was real light. Our creative director Olivia came over. She brought over some pizza, and we just nice quiet night. Turned it on and basically halftime, I wasn't kicking people out, but I was making strong hints, all right, if they don't score here, I'm going to bed. Saying strong hints to everybody get the hell out of my house.
The host is kicking people out by halftime. Yeah. That's why I can't host.
So my tailgate report was kind of somber and pitiful, to be honest.
Oh, I love you so much, DT. That is so funny because I won't kick people out, but I just, by the time it was halftime, I just went to the shed, went out, started smoking, and just out there, and I was just like, you know what? I'm not even coming back in the house. Everybody was still up, all the kids still running around. They don't have any school, they don't, they care, but they don't care. Nate cares, but not like that. And they don't have school tomorrow. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go outside because I just I can feel that energy, man. When the game gets out of hand, and again, we haven't had that feeling in a long time. The Bills are in every game, so at least even if we're losing or we're winning barely, you're not gonna get blown out. So it was a unique feeling, and it was a feeling I haven't had in a long time. Like I said, since that Indianapolis game where I was really pissed when Jonathan Taylor was just running. He just kept running. I'm just like, I drove up for this shit. Like this is horrible. Now I have to drive back home to Charlotte. I was so mad. So that's kind of how it was on Sunday, man. I was by halftime, I was like, man, they got to score right away because this is really pissing me off. And then obviously the game went the way that it did. So it'll be interesting to see, man. It's funny because just, the season, it's just funny how it's a week-to-week league. Last week we're talking about how weak the AFC could be and what's, let me find out. I named the episode, and then this week it's, just, grab your plate. Everybody eats. Here's a piece of humble pie. And it's fine. I like the fact that it's in the beginning of the year. Again, the Bills don't get blown out often, DT. So, I can deal with that to a certain degree. I just want to find a way to get healthy. It just seems like dating back to last year, DT, as we wrap up tonight, it just seems like it's always like we could have beat Kansas City if Matt Milano wasn't hurt, or we could have found a way if you know what I mean, if so-and-so wasn't injured, or the defense, and it's just like, we had to take, what's it called, AJ Klein off the couch. And it's like, I want there to be no more excuses. Do you understand what I mean when I say that? Like, I don't want the excuses of injuries. I want everybody. I understand that it's not a video game where you can turn off the injury settings, because that's exactly what I do in my video games. Like, I'm playing fantasy right now. Why would I let my guys get hurt in a fantasy world? It doesn't make any sense. Like, I turn injuries off. I want to play with my guys. I just want to see the Bills whole, man. I really do. I want to see the Bills whole, DT. And it just seems like I can't get there.
Yeah, you're right. And like all the excuses kind of come together of, the Kansas City game we were like, we need the Chiefs at home. And then we get them at home and then it's like, we didn't have Matt Milano. And then,
right.
Those who are good for making excuses are seldom good for anything else. But
True.
We got to find a way to get healthy. We got to find a way to get in a rhythm. And, and that's it. All comes down to the leadership. It all comes down to the coaching and 1-7 to kind of elevate whoever we got out there. We need to elevate and move forward and make them better. We can have a piece of the humble pie, Rob. That's fine. I think, it is what it is. We might have needed it. We weren't as good as we thought we were in those 3 weeks, and we might have needed that humble pie, but there's a lot better ways to eat it than getting your shit kicked in like that. So that's unacceptable. They should take it personal this week.
True.
1-7 should be a raging asshole all week long in practice.
I don't know if he's that kind of guy, but
we're not going 17-0. This might not be the team of the century, the best Bills team ever, but we're going to demand respect when we go out on that gridiron, and we didn't deserve any respect last week. So take a piece of the humble pie, but you don't need to eat it like that. It's unacceptable, and they should take it personal going into this week.
Yeah, I agree. When you talk about Josh being a raging asshole, it just made me think of Mama Monday. I don't even think he's really built that way. So I doubt that he's been like that this week around the office. But like you talked about you've talked about in the offseason, he's gotta take his level of leadership to a different level and kind of change some of the things about his stripes in that respect. So maybe he's channeling some of that, but we'll see. But I'm excited for the game. I really am. I've been, like I said, I circled this one on the calendar since the beginning of the year because of the whole Diggs drama. And, obviously because I was a supporter of his, and I'm excited to see how the Bills play. Again, the injuries kind of suck, but you still got to strap up and go out there. We've lauded McDermott for his ability to get these guys ready to play, even the backups. Now is going to be another big time test. You're losing Oliver, you're losing Johnson, you're losing Rapp. Okay, well then now it's time to step up. You don't have Shakir on the offensive side of the ball. Okay, well now I want to see something. Everybody eats like you talked about. I want to see something. I want to see this work. I really do. When I heard about Devontae Adams, I'm like, yes, I don't care what's the price, second round pick. Yes, go get him. And I understand that I'm not a proponent of everybody eats, so that's probably why I'm so quick to pull the plug on it. And I can admit that about myself. But I'll be watching Joe Brady for sure this week again, because it just hasn't really been working for me thus far. Again, the short fields kind of skew it a little bit, if that makes sense, DT. That Miami game was not really, we didn't really have to do shit, so we'll see how it works out. I'm excited for the game, DT. You enjoy it as well. Listen, out there, over 500 people watching tonight. We really appreciate all of the love and support, DT. As he talked about, we got some giveaways next week as well coming up. Listen, spread love out there, not hate. These were my Bills thoughts said out loud. Hit them with a Go Bills, DT. Let's go. We took that humble pie. Let's go.
Go Bills. Go Bills. I I said, glad it's on Friday. Now I'm pumped up instead of depressed from the week before. Pumped up. Go Bills. 4-1. Let's get it done.
All right, I love it, man. Go Bills.